Good morning, YouTubers, stock Twitters, passerbys, whether you're passing by real time or later. I'm bagging on. This is stockmarketcaddy.com. And yes, you can learn to trade the markets without looking at a chart. And you're looking at what we call swing machine. Let's just take a quick peek, see if I can slide this up and give you a view of the S&P. This is, oops, I'm sorry about that. We'll try that again here. Here we go. We get this up here. All right, on a daily basis, let's put the S&P on a daily and the VIX on a daily. The S&P on our fear and greed meter, the greed is at 70, So the S&P could certainly go higher. I'm not saying that that 4158 is the turning point, but we're getting there. The likelihood, if we get into euphoria, if the S&P was to get to 4,200, 4,300, the likelihood that the market will pull back will reach some 95%. So as it increases, the percentage likelihood that it comes back also starts to increase significantly. What we're also looking, though, is for any kind of tea leaves from the VIX, and the VIX is at 20. So the market is really going into today. This is what our message was to our members last night, is that the market is, we think, overly complacent. Could it get even more complacent? It could, but boy, we're really starting to push the limits. And when we're trying to put on trades, position trades that go out for days or weeks, we're not going to try to get it right down to the minute. We're going to just try to get, our option trades on. They're kind of like horseshoes. We just got to get in the vicinity. So when we see this, we start, yesterday, not this morning, but yesterday, starting to put on option contracts that go out, 30, 40 days for the pullback. We want to put them out in advance of the pullback. We don't want to be getting them when everyone else is getting them. But so it's not to say that we can't go higher, but we're setting up. So we're not terribly surprised that the markets are pulling back here a little bit this morning. The question is this going to be the start of something bigger? No one really knows that. But when we look at our intraday timeframes right here, right now, and this is real time, the 5-minute VIX went long at 850. So that is a warning to any and all of our members who have this tool as well as 70 other tools on their desktops. They know that starting at 850, this market's going to come under pressure. At the 5-minute level, it's actually started at 820. So the VIX was responding to the market. Sometimes it leads, sometimes it reacts to, but at 820, it starts selling down. 835, it starts selling down. The NASDAQ, 755, starts selling down. The YM in 805. Gold is also getting hit and starts selling down at 705. Oil kind of robbed some space here. We do have a little program that's running. It hasn't triggered any trades. It's not real active, this particular program. But if it does fire, you'll see the trade go in up here and you'll see it accrue in here. If you have any questions as you might be passing through on YouTube, don't hesitate. If you do visit the website, we're usually encouraging folks to visit the website. The website, we're kind of in a transition period. We've had a website for 10 or something years. We're trying to transition to a newer one. There seems to be a little bit of a hosting issue, and so it's not loading correctly. And bear with us. And hopefully the hosting company is telling me that it's going to get resolved, hopefully here soon. Not much I can do about it right here, right now. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate. And we'll let you watch here. And we'll probably, it's 9:10. We'll probably let the folks on YouTube watch until about 10 a.m. Then we do need the resources on the computer, and we need to do our other business. But we will do this periodically. We appreciate the like buttons. We appreciate you pushing the notification, help us spread the word. We don't do any advertising. So if you find us, it's probably a small miracle. And We're not into the macro babble. We're not going to tell you any stories, narratives. We're not going to get involved. Oh, is the debt ceiling? Uh, folks, we're not defaulting, and the Ponzi scheme is it's going to end, but it's probably not going to end on on a default over the debt ceiling. But so they're going to increase the debt ceiling. They're never gonna stop. We're at 30 trillion. They're going to go to 50 trillion. They're going to go to 100 trillion if they can get away with it. Um, Japan, the same thing. So pretty disgusting, but it is what it is. Is it a Ponzi scheme? Absolutely it is. Is it rigged? Yes. Is it fixed? Yes. Yes, yes, and yes. All of it. Here, all we're trying to do is affect trades and stay on the side that's rigged. If they're selling, we're selling. If they're buying, we're buying. It's just that we're going to get out of them. And we're not going to buy into the fairy tale. We're not going to buy into the CNBC narrative, the bullshit. I'm not going to take my hard-earned career earnings and I think I'm going to invest it in Tesla because he was on CNBC and he was talking to Joe Kernan. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that with any of them. With Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan, a bunch of money launderers. God, if they had to suck out, the drug money in this country, the American banking system would collapse. Bunch of crooks. But story for another day. It's not what we're about. We're simply playing the game that's in front of us. We play the ball where it lies. We play the market for what it is. And that's it. If this resonates with you, and that's what you want to do, and you want to jumpstart your education and you want to jumpstart with your tools, then you're more than welcome to check us out. Not to get political, but it is so rich, to hear the likes of Senator Mitt Romney talking about the domino theory and how Russia wants to expand and the boundaries of the old Soviet Union, yada, yada. Do you think Romney's sons are going to go into the service? Any chance of that, folks? Any chance at all? You know, did Romney go to Vietnam? No. No, Romney's daddy was a CEO, I think, of Ford, one of the motor companies, governor of Michigan, silver spoon in his mouth. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Sorry. Comes across my Twitter stream. It reminds me why we do what we do. We don't have to listen to the fake media, the faux media. We were saying faux, FAUX, long before Trump. Wall Street and Madison Avenue are the originators of this. It is one of the biggest fairy tales ever to come down the pike. But man, when we see what we see, it is it's rich, isn't it? It is rich. Unbelievable. Hmm. But our way of getting even is doing exactly what we do. So we can live our life without them. As we get ready for the market to open, we can do this very quickly. Let's just take a look at the 60-minute ES contract. The 60-minute, I'm sorry, 60-minute ES S&P. It went long 22 hours ago at noon at 41.45. So that's going to be an important number. You'd be up $1,000 if you had traded it on an hourly. How about the NQ? The NQ on an hourly basis went long 68 hours ago at 13,446.50. Also an important number on the way back. If we can get underneath those numbers, you'd be up $4,000. Let's just take a look at the hourly. Okay, I'm not going to be able to do that because of my Zoom settings. So, but we'll slide this back to a 5-minute. We do think the markets are extended. We do think we were telling our members this last night that they're likely to pull back in. And gold in particular is really taking it on the chin here this morning at 7:05. When did gold on an hourly basis? Let's see, can we get it in here? Yep. Here, gold is, so this is where we just don't get caught up in a narrative of, bull, 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 bear, 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 in whether it's crypto, whether it's gold, whether it's the S&P, whether it's lumber, whether it's eggs. We just don't get caught up in it because it just doesn't help us. It's better to be neutral. So gold, even though I'd like to, be bullish long term, and I probably am long term, I'd rather own gold than dollars, but on a 60-minute basis, if you had sold a gold futures contract 62 hours ago at 7 p.m. on May 15th, one mini contract, yes, you have $5,790 in these things called dollars. You have, value. You could have hedged your gold. So if you want to stay short, that's up to you. But, on an hourly basis, that's where Swing Machine is. So it continues to get hit. Probably will continue into tomorrow as well. But on a daily basis, we're just looking the S&P. I'm going to slide up Swing Machine so you can see the S&P on a daily is pushing at 70. Can we go higher? Can the S&P get higher than 41.58? Yes, it could. But as we push up into euphoria, the likelihood of a significant pullback, the probability starts climbing rapidly. Right here, we're at about a 66% likelihood of a pullback. And when we see put the VIX on a daily here, if we can, and let that load in, and the VIX is now pushing at 20. So the likelihood that the VIX is going to come up on a daily is now starting to get in the neighborhood of 80 some odd percent. If the VIX comes up, then the market's going to come back. So enjoy the run. If you've been long, congratulations. And no fuss, no muss. We're not going to get into, quad 1, quad 2. And I think where, folks will go astray or be driven to drink is if you're trying to equate market movement to anything economic, you're just going to be lost on a day-to-day basis. If you want to put all your assets into gold for, the next, 50 years, probably a good idea. I'm not suggesting that, but if you're a trader and you're trying to make decisions based on the debt ceiling, on an unemployment number, on an inflation number, on the ISM number, on the beige book, you're just going to be lost. You're going to be lost. And there's a whole cottage industry out there, rather significant one, of a bunch of macro babble, and they sound really smart, and they got Ivy League educations, and they couldn't trade their way out of a paper bag. But it is what it is. We just don't get involved in that. We're tracking money flow. And if our members took the S&P short at 820 this morning, they're up 475. The NQ, they would be suffering a draw at 835. They would be suffering a draw. We don't win on every single trade. The YM, 755, 530. The Russell, 805, short 750, and of course the gold trade. We'll see how the NQ works out here. We're not suggesting anybody take any of these trades on YouTube. Not a good idea. You're on delay. You haven't been in service, you haven't practiced, you don't know the steps that we take, and you don't have visibility on any of our other tools that can be used in conjunction. So we show these tools as an example. By the way, we do have, let me slide this back in so we can see the oil. We do have a program running on the NQ, and if the NQ, it doesn't happen to be swing machine, and if it triggers, you'll see the trade up here and you'll see it reflected here. It has not triggered yet. And for those that are passing by, we're usually encouraging you to visit the website, but our website, we're right in transition. We're trying to get our new website up, and there's some hosting issues right now that we're being troubleshot. So we'll see how that plays out. So bear with us there. The website that we have is not loading properly. And we've had one for some 10 years or more, and we're trying to transition to a newer format. So that's where we are. But if you have any questions, feel free to punch them up in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to let you watch, and we will need the resources on this computer around 10 o'clock, so we'll have to turn down on YouTube. But if you got any questions, let us know. Thanks. Swing machine, which is what this tool is, does not use, by the way, we've been doing this a long time. We've been doing this since the early 2000s, does not use moving averages. We could not get this type of performance out of moving averages. They'd be all over the place. And but this is only one. This happens to be our flagship product, but this is only one of about 70 proprietary tools that we use and also make available to our members. Show me studies, paint bars, and strategies, trading robots. We've yet to get that first trade on the NQ, and it's been running since midnight, so it hasn't been a one, not one. We are trading in a very tight range. There are 24 trading days in a month, 24. And if you take Fridays off, that makes 20, and you try to do the math from there. Don't have to trade all day, every day, and don't have to have huge numbers. Just want to have some consistency. $100 a day is $2,000 a month, 200. You can do the math again from there. The nice thing about the futures, why we like to trade futures, is they're highly liquid. They're open, so we have accessibility. And we don't have to deal with the Greeks, although we do trade options. We just don't trade them actively. And but we don't have to concern ourselves with time decay and everything else. We can use charts, and anything and everything that you see on the screen can be on your desktop, of course, and can be programmed to send alerts to your phone. Can be actually putting in trades on its own. You can do that. If you want to test us at all, feel free. If you're passing through on YouTube and seeing it for the first time, if you want me to plug in a stock, let me know the stock, let me know the interval, and we'll plug it in right here, right now, and I'll show you how Swing Machine is positioned on it. And you can do that. I'm happy to do it. Now, these intervals, by the way, the intervals on Swing Machine can be changed, right? So we can change it from 1 minute to 3 minutes. We can change it down to a second. We can actually do it on tick count. It could be on tick count. So we happen to put it on a 1, 3, 5 minute. Now, the craziest market of all is, of course, the NASDAQ. Everybody loves to trade the NASDAQ. And it is the crazy aunt in the basement. It's very, very fast. And there is a technique for trading this, and it depends upon your interval. If you were trading the NASDAQ on a 1 minute, this is just telling you, this number here is telling you that the signal came in 23. It's a shorthand for the time. 23 1-minute segments ago, it went long. At what time? That would have been 9:18. Okay, so just 23 minutes ago. And if you took it long, yes, you're up $900. If you have a mini, if you took a micro, you're up 90. If you did 10 minis, you're up 9 grand. Now, trading the 1 minute is, it's fast, so there's a technique, and it has to be practiced. But what we like to teach is, especially new people, is to trade the 1 minute in the direction of the 5. And the NQ on a 5-minute basis is trying, it's not confirmed yet, but it is trying to get long. Here, we'll see. We'll just let it play out. The big trade here, of course, is gold on a 5-minute, 33 5-minute segments ago at 7:05. Gold started selling down. And if you shorted it, you'd be up $1,900. If you own gold, you would have saved yourself $1,900 in value. And again, we're just mentioning to folks that are passing by, there's not much we can do about it. We've had a website for a dozen some odd years. We're upgrading it, and right now there's a little bit of a hosting issue, so it's being troubleshot. So bear with us. So if you go to the website, you're not getting the image, not getting the complete image, complete functionality of it right now. We're hopeful by the end of today we'll have it squared away, but we shall see. I'm kind of beholden to the hosting company, and but we're not new. We've been doing this a long time. We're not from Wall Street, not from Madison Avenue. We're far from it. There's nobody more skeptical. There is nobody more cynical. Nobody than me when it comes to the markets or much of anything else. I set out in the early 2000s with my beautiful wife, Susan, said, "Isn't this ridiculous?" And they want us to put our life savings into this cesspool. And it is the markets are, it's It's not what they would have you believe. And as we were mentioning earlier today, the originators of fake news, the originators of fake media are the financial markets themselves and the financial media around it. It is the most self-serving, it's rather disgusting. I don't have a TV in the office, not at all. I don't subscribe to anything. No. And by the way, we don't we don't preach narratives or forecasts or projections or economic macro babble. We don't. The Stock Market Academy is about learning to trade your game. You would have to, as a member, learn to trade your game, not my game, not Susan's, not someone else's, but yours. Some people can handle that. Some people want that. The vast majority of people don't, just like everything else. It's work. It takes time. It takes discipline. And most people not going to be bothered. They'd rather, have a boutique broker or broker, and he takes their money and he puts it into the market, and then he goes to the mall. He goes play golf. We're here each and every day using the capital we have, moving in and moving out. And we use machinery. We're using so that we can remove the emotions of greed and fear. I don't have to have carpal tunnel syndrome on my hand, from squeezing the mouse. Markets are still pretty choppy here this morning. You get to choose, the thing of it is that you cannot control the markets. I can't. Nobody knows where they're going. Nope, nobody does. It's a hodgepodge, but there are things that you can control. And that's the thing. You can control what you do. You need to become aware of that. Most people, they really don't probably want to control it. They'd rather just not. They don't. Our members probably make more decisions in a day or in a week than most people will probably make in a lifetime. Truly. Not that they've got to be, and we try to get those decisions. So you got to, one of the things I think you got to like to make decisions, but we try to get those decisions mechanical. When you see a golfer, it looks effortless for a professional golfer. It looks effortless. It probably is effortless, but behind that effortless golf swing is hours and hours and hours of practice. And he's built a swing that he can repeat, and it looks beautiful. If you think you can watch one video, if you think, you can go out and buy yourself a new set of clubs and go out and play scratch golf, let me know how that works out. Not going to happen. It takes time, and you do need to practice it. But we try to approach it from that standpoint of building a trading regimen. But there are things that you can control. You can control when you come into the market, when you come out. You can control how much leverage you use. You can control the markets you want to trade. You want to trade the NASDAQ every day? Well, better be good. Better be good. Because that's where everybody wants to be. And but there are other markets. Coffee, soybeans, soybean meal. You don't have to worry about CNBC, touting soybean meal. Move your money in and move it out and collect, more money, and then go put it in something that's going to hold value, whatever that might be. You can control the programs that you use, much like we have these little trading robots. I wish we had a trade going off. Let me just go look, make sure, but it just hasn't given us anything. No, it hasn't. No, it's not real active, this particular strategy. And so it has not yet triggered. When it does trigger, it will go in automatically. Now, these trading robots, I don't want to give anyone the impression that they're like Roomba. You're not going to be able to just plug it in. You are not, and have it print money for you. It's not going to work that way. You can plug them in. They can trade for you, but you do need to learn how to use them and use them responsibly to get the job done. We make another comparison. There's a company called Intuitive Surgical, symbol ISRG. They provide hospitals something called a robotic surgery. And I've had the privilege of not doing surgery in the robot, but sitting in the robot and manipulating it. It's pretty fancy technology. But just because you can sit in there and maneuver the arms doesn't mean that you can do surgery. At least not on me. You need to be a surgeon. The company that provides the robot, Intuitive Surgical, they talk about it being surgical or robotic assisted surgery. Robot assisted. R2D2 isn't going to take out your gallbladder. So we refer to these trading robots as robot assisted trading. We borrow that phrase, we borrow that concept. So the operative key part that needs to be understood is that you do need to learn to operate the robot. And it's an acquired trading skill. So there's no jumping the shark. So we get dozens and dozens of emails, and I generally don't respond. And somebody will just say, "Hey, Bagger, how much is that bot?" They don't even take the time to say hello. They don't take the time they just, I want a bot, meaning a robot. I want a bot. I want to plug it in. It'd be like going to the car dealership and getting a Lamborghini, and somebody's just gotten a driver's license and they wrap it around a pole 500 yards down the out of the parking lot. You do need to learn, right? They're sexy to look at, they're sexy to watch, no question about it, but you need to learn how to drive the thing. You may have the money, you may have the passion, you may have the interest to go get yourself a small plane. I think it's a good idea you learn how to fly it in different types of conditions too, right? JFK Jr., I thought he was a good pilot. No, he wasn't so good. Oh, sorry to say. Pretty horrific. He took off. I'm originally from the Boston area, and in the summertime of Cape Cod, you get a haze that comes in off. It's kind of like San Francisco. You get a haze, and you get caught in that haze. You get vertigo. You can't tell up from down. Traders can get that. You can be looking at a chart, and you can't tell up from down, down from up. And from what I understand, even pilots, they talk about learning to trust their instruments, not listening to their inner ear, the inner ear. That's why I don't have a TV in my office. And I try not to pay too much attention to the Twitter sphere as a distraction, but I try not to pay too much attention to the noise around the markets. It's a distraction. I don't even want to hear it. That's why I'm not telling you any bullshit about, crypto, or any bullshit about, the debt ceiling or the economy, or, if you wanted me to, I could. I guess it makes you feel better. I don't ask myself who's buying this shit. Who cares? Who cares? I don't ask myself who's selling it. I don't ask myself why. Who cares? Got to make you feel better if your account's going down and down in value. You want to sit around the kitchen table and the coffee table with your spouse and, and give some rationalization as to why your account's going up or going down. If that works for you, great. That makes you feel better, lets you sleep at night. Yeah, great. And then do it. When we trade like this, it doesn't matter if the S&P goes to 5,000, 10,000, or 20,000. Doesn't matter if it goes to 2,000. It doesn't matter because we're going to move in and we're going to move out. And we're going to extract cash flow. And I'm not forcing the issue right now. We haven't had a single, the robot is running, it hasn't had a single trade. Oh, wait, I'm not going to get in there on the mouse. I'm not going to put on a trade just to put the trade on. I'm not going to do that. And I'm not trying to demonstrate. We're showing you what it looks like. I'm not trying to demonstrate. Doesn't matter. We have most certainly had members that have come in and blown us away, that have done much, much better, and have done some wild things. So there's no limitation at all. I don't have it cornered. And the markets are so deep and so wide, your success doesn't, or a member's success, it doesn't detract from me, doesn't take anything away, So it's great. It's a beautiful thing. The questions that I used to ask is like, how did we get here? Without dating myself here a little bit, we've been doing this a while, right? Been all through a lot of stuff. I'm happy to answer any questions, but they would always say that you can't time the market. You can't time the market. If you can't time the market and you're only supposed to buy, who the hell's doing all the selling? That's one of the questions I would ask, the brokers and the brokers, in the 2000s, early 2000s, late 90s, actually. Like, if I'm not supposed to be selling, then who the hell's doing all the selling? Well, Don, you can sell it, but then you got to make a decision to get back in. Oh, okay. When should I get in? When should I get out? Oh, you can't do that, Don. If you missed the 5 best days in the last 30 years, you would have. Everything is geared to keeping you in. Just shut up, send them your money, go have a donut at Dunkin' Donuts or wherever, and just leave us alone. The guy's got a corner office in downtown Tampa, and he's got the fighter jet on the wall. He's got a secretary with cleavage, and he looks important. And he's a moron. He knows less about the markets than I knew as a 20-year-old kid. I like what Rush Limbaugh had to say one time. They asked Rush, why he doesn't give his money. Rush didn't give his money to those guys. It's like, why do I want to entrust? I've accumulated more money than they could ever dream of. Why would I turn my money over to somebody who's got less than I do? Why would he do that? Some people want to make their own decisions. A lot of people don't. And that's okay. It's totally okay. That's why we don't even really advertise a whole lot. Because I just figure the folks that we're trying to reach, they'll find us. They'll find us because they're looking and they know what they want. And they know what they want to do. And they'll find us. I live in Florida. I'm not about to. They got conventions at the state fair and all this stuff. And I'm not going to set up a table. I could set up a tabletop display and put the market up. I choose not to do that. I don't want to do that. This, if you're going to go into the trading market, this is going to be something you really, really want to do. It's got to be something you really, really want to do. You will be tested, even with all these tools. You will get tested. And I don't know what the criteria is. I'm asked all the time, what is the criteria? I think you certainly need to have some time, because it takes time. You need to have some trading capital, because it takes capital. I think you need to have a passion. It's got to be something you're interested in doing, for sure. I think you have to be curious. I think that you need to be patient. I think you need to be able to be disciplined. And I'm not sure about the nerve part of it, because we try to mechanize it, but you'll need the biggest challenge is overcoming the excitement, the dopamine rush or withdrawal of money. And so from there, we try to teach some tools of getting your focus off of the money, because it will hamstring you. And I think that like a golfer, if you are super focused as a golfer on your standing, in the tournament, on every shot, you're probably not going to do very well. You're just not. So if you're focused on your money, super focused on every shot, it won't be around very long. It's 10 o'clock, and if anybody wants me to punch in anything, I will. I'm happy to answer any question. I want to thank those of you on YouTube that stopped on by. Bear with us on the website. I hope by the later today, I got my fingers crossed, these guys are going to get some things. What happened was we got these plugins on the website, and they may not have been compatible, and so I may have done some things that screwed it up, but we'll hopefully they're going to get it worked out for me. So one of the nice things is, and I use the website as an example. We will provide you these tools, but you can mix and match these tools. We really take the time, almost 3 weeks with you, and you can mix and match them and set them and do some, you might be doing there's no question you will be doing some things that we've never probably even dreamed of doing. The opportunities to get in and to trade the markets, there's I'm not in here trying to show a trend line and the MACD, when the MACD does this and the moving average does that, and you put your hand behind your back and you do this and you do that and do this and do that, and oh look, you just made 25 bucks. We're not doing that, right? We come down and we look before we part ways. We still have the VIX long at 850, so that's going to keep this market subdued for right now. The 5-minute ES is still short from 820. It's still here, still in the short position. The NQ is rolling all over the place here. The 5-minute is still trying to get long from 940. And it sticks out as a sore thumb. Usually the big moves will come, they'll get them all, they get them all together. The Dow on a 5-minute, and the Dow is actually, the Dow can be a really nice place to learn too, because it's pretty quiet, pretty sedate, and it turned down at 755. You're up 600 bucks. That's the other thing that I think one's trading maturity will, well, as a trader, it matures. You begin to realize, like, it doesn't really matter. If I make $400 a day, and I'm trading the NASDAQ, okay, but you know what? If I make $400 a day and I'm trading, I don't know, gold, who cares, right? Make the money and pull the money out and go do something else with it. So it really doesn't matter. But the 5 minute is still short and the Russell is still short. It's the NASDAQ that is not letting up the ghost. It's not. And on a 1 minute basis, this 1 minute is still long from 918. And we have not had yet one trade off of our little trading robot. If we were to change, so we can change the interval. Just as an example, I can put the NQ on a 60-minute, and the 60-minute NQ went long 69 hours ago. So that's like a couple of days, right? More than. That's back on the 15th. It went long at this number at this time. And yes, you'd be up 5,000. Now, the issue here for a new trader, these are leveraged and these are big numbers. The likelihood that a new trader could do that is slim and none, because as soon as he's up 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000, going to get all excited. He's going to get all nervous. He's not going to be capable of flying the plane. He's going to get spooked, or he's going to get, excited. So these larger time frames, they're nice. You can certainly make more money on the larger time frames, but you have to grow into it. And what we generally do, the further out we go in time, the less leverage we will use. And we may even, if we go on a daily basis, we may then not even use futures. We may use options to define our risk. Okay, so it's 10 o'clock. We're going to have to sign off. I just want to say thanks, Robert. Robert gave us a nice little comment. And if you get any questions, and you're more than welcome to call us to Real Person 813-758-8263. We get any specific questions. And we got quite a few videos on YouTube. And hopefully here we'll get this our website up and fully functional, so it'll answer a lot more questions. Don't hesitate. Thank you.